Good afternoon. Hope you're enjoying this lovely snowy English weather. I'm pretty much sitting around, actually for once with not much to do because it's snowing outside, and here in England it seems that when it snows everything falls apart. So I thought I'd bring you a blog today about one of my favourite things, tea. There's lots of health benefits from tea. There are also a few little side effects that people need to be aware of, and so what I want to do is just pick out, I suppose, 4 or 5 different types of tea which I like to drink and talk about some of the benefits. Also, I'll mention again some of the negatives as well. So to start with, what I want to talk about is in general what tea can do for you. It tends to have been shown that tea can be really good for a number of things. It can help your immune system, give you a bit of an immune system booster. It can help relieve stress in certain individuals. It can be very good for gastrointestinal health, depending on what kind of tea you're drinking. It can be good for your bone strength. They tend to show with some studies that people who drink tea tend to have a better bone health and bone density. It can also help your blood pressure in terms of lowering blood pressure. So that's across the board, because there's obviously different types of tea. Here in England we tend to think of tea as black tea or English breakfast tea, which is what I got my lovely cup of here now. People over here tend to take that with milk and sometimes with a little bit of sugar as well. So you can tend to decrease some of the health benefits by doing that. I do like my black tea with a little bit of milk, so I'll tend to have organic milk. Either, well, it's very hard to get raw milk in England, so I'll go for the best quality milk I can find locally, which tends to be an organic milk. And I keep my sugar to a minimum. Sometimes I'll use stevia. But I'll look for a very pure form of stevia, not one that's been mixed in with loads of other chemicals. And that's something to be aware of. Most of the things you'll find in the shops aren't pure stevia. So again, you tend to lose that health benefit effect. So if we're talking black tea, this is one that, because it's got a high concentration of antioxidants, and because of the manganese in it, it can help to lower your risk of heart disease, also they suggest. So that's one good thing about it. But in general, it's been proven to improve overall cardiovascular health. So that's one benefit of black tea. Obviously, it can be drunk to improve alertness, and as long as this isn't a daily thing, you're not using the tea day in day out to to counteract the effects of a poor diet, then it can help you. You know, if you need that little bit of health. I tend to like a bit of tea before I go and train. Maybe that's a stimulant effect of the caffeine, but I do find it helps me with training. So we can then move on to green tea. Green tea's got a bit less caffeine in it than black tea, as far as I'm aware. So it's one that you can have maybe later on in the day and not get the effects of black tea maybe affecting your sleep. Green tea also has the same health effects that I mentioned at the start, but has also been shown to be good in combating gum disease, also good for headaches. If you've got a headache, it's shown to have a lot of good healing properties, and the Far East have drunk green tea for a long time and found it very beneficial to their health. Also good for certain stomach complaints as well. If you suffer with a bit of IBS, green tea can be sometimes drunk to help that. Then we can move on to one of my favourites, which is white tea, because as I said before, I like to try and limit the amount of milk I have these days, and I don't particularly like black tea without milk, so I've been searching around all different types of teas to find one that I like, that doesn't have as much caffeine in it, and that's white tea. And also tastes quite nice, and I would say of all the teas I've tried, white tea is probably the most like black tea in terms of taste. So yeah, you can often get your white tea standard tea bags. You can buy them from the shops. This is just an organic blend, and I find that one's a better one to have later at night. Also, just if you want to calm down, I find this quite a calming tea. So I can have it after a meal, and it helps. Just I find this helps with my digestion. And yeah, again, same issues with all the other teas. If you've got any caffeine problems, i.e. allergic to caffeine, or caffeine causes you to become irritable or hyper, then you want to be obviously steering clear of that. Then what we've also got is your sort of more herbal teas. So if you can get them in tea bag form, this is your peppermint tea. Mint tea has been shown to be good for stomach complaints. Again, really good for your gastrointestinal tract. Helps with digestion of food, stomach complaints, and so on. I've actually recently stopped using tea bags, mint tea bags, and I've actually started making it fresh. So I get the fresh herb, put it in this teapot. It's got a little catch in the middle. I just put the leaves in that, a bit of boiling water, let it stand for about 2 or 3 minutes, maybe a bit more, and I get myself a nice fresh mint tea. And I must say it's very tasty, very light on the stomach, and you know for certain there's no other additives in there if it's a high quality herb that you've got. And the great thing about that is you can grow your own and just pick it and put it in there, so very cheap as well. Another one I've got is a lemon and ginger tea. Recently had this when I was ill for a day or so. There's been a lot of bugs going around here in England, and I'm pleased to say I did pick it up but kicked it through within 24 hours, and I definitely think this helped, not just with the swelling but also with clearing my head. So I'm sure that was the ginger in that, but lemon and ginger tea. And then a final one I want to talk about is something that I got into, or got introduced to by my colleague Troy Casey, the certified health nut, and this is Amazon Treasure Tea. So what this is a blend of teas, a blend of ingredients that they use to make tea in the Amazon, in one of the tribes there, and it's got a number of raw, they like to call them superfoods. I don't like using that term, but high nutrient foods. And this one's actually got jatoba, uno de gato, tahari, chancapiedra, which is supposed to be very healing, stevia, so it has got pure stevia in there for a bit of sweetener, and chuchuasi. And some of that's bark of a tree, some of it's the inner bark, and some of it's just leaves. But they blend it together. It's very, very potent. I would say with anything like that, make sure there's no contraindications to you taking anything like that, or I should say drinking anything like that. And that goes for all teas. If you're on any medication, you've always got to make sure that there's no contraindications to having tea whilst you're on your medication, because it has got caffeine in it, and that can cause issues with some medications. That's really the main side effect. There have been some studies, for instance with mint tea, that have shown that if you have it daily, it could possibly be linked to some issues with hormone levels and affect your hormones, sometimes maybe in a negative way. So this is why I have such a variety. The great thing about variety is you can mix them up. I would say I probably have 1 or 2 black teas a day. I do like my tea. I don't drink. I don't have fizzy drinks. So no alcohol, no fizzy drinks. I think my body can deal with a little bit of black tea here and there. But by having the other varieties, the white tea, the mint tea, I can mix it up and make sure I'm not drinking the same thing every day. So there was a lot of information there. It was a bit of an info burst. But just remember the basics with tea. It can be good for stress relief. Drink it moderately, so make sure that you're mixing it up, having your different types of tea. So if you have mint tea one day, maybe have a lemon tea the next day, maybe the next day have a white tea. I tend to say drink your black teas or your stronger teas earlier on in the day. I don't tend to have one when I first get up, because that makes me solidifies for my own mindset that I'm not dependent on tea to wake me up in the morning. So I'll probably normally have one maybe around 9-10 in the morning when I've been up since 6 o'clock. So as you can see, I could get into my day without being dependent on the stimulant. And then I probably wouldn't have my last one after 6 o'clock in the evening. Occasionally I do, normally more towards the weekend, but it can affect my sleep a little bit. So I tend not to, and I'll tend to have more of a mint tea or an Amazon tea later on in the day. So yeah, as you can see, there's lots of tea out there. It does have some great health benefits. Be aware of the negatives. Always ask your doctor if you're on any kind of medication or if you have any kind of allergies, to make sure that there's certain teas you're okay to drink. If you're really unsure, again, visit maybe a very highly qualified nutritionist, as they'll probably know more than me in terms of tea quality and tea preference. But there's lots of information out there. So what I might do at some point in the future is break down each tea specifically, do a bit more research into it, and bring you each tea, its positives and its negatives, and what you have to be aware of. But if you're anything like me, enjoy a good cuppa, and if you've got any comments or any suggestions, I'd love to know, anything that works for you. And as I always say, if you drink something and it doesn't make you feel good, then that's something to avoid. There's no point in drinking something that's supposed to have health benefits if it makes you feel worse. So have a great evening and day wherever you are in the world, and hopefully I'll speak to you again soon. Take care.